What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and apologies for the late upload today, but today I've got myself the round 14 team coach review. I'm so glad that I'm able to get this out on time. At the very least, I'm getting this out on the right day. Maybe not the right time, but at least you guys will be seeing it. So at least there's that. But round 14 overall, I don't know how eventful you could say it was. Some big results here from Carlton specifically, I know is one of them. Fremantle in the more disappointing side of things, but overall, a very, very interesting week. Only the 6 games, so not too much to talk about, but I am keen to have a look at how we did. I'm going to do something different this week, starting with the team coach tips. Hopefully it shows up this time. Round 14, there we are. 4 out of 6 this week. So, you can see here, the first one, Port versus Geelong. Port go up to 11 in a row. 11 in a row for Port. That is ridiculous. I do not know how we are in the world where Port are potentially front runners for a premiership. It feels like after last year, they need to make big changes, and I mean, I guess they did. The additions of Jason Horne-Francis and Junior Rioli seems to be paying off really well, but it's just overall the emergence of so many good players. Zach Butters is now a potential Brownlow medalist. Obviously, Ollie Wines playing his game. Connor Rozee continuing All-Australian form. Port just have players everywhere having great season so far. So Port must be feeling very good right now. But we go to Brisbane, Sydney. We picked Brisbane and they took the win. A nice 16-point win over Sydney, which leaves Sydney a bit far outside the top 8 and potentially missing finals altogether after a grand final year, which seems to happen a lot with teams who get smashed in the granny. So very interesting to see. Then we go to Fremantle versus GWS, and my God, Fremantle, after looking like world beaters, go ahead and lose to GWS by 70 points. Just ridiculous. I know GWS were at home, but I feel like that's not at all an excuse to be losing by 70 to that team. Very strange indeed, but fair play to GWS. They played an absolutely outstanding game and definitely the most impressive win of the week and probably of this season for GWS. That's really good. And then we go to Richmond versus St Kilda in Trent Cotchin's 300th game. Richmond take a 20-point win. Dusty bringing back prime Dusty play. Ridiculous stuff overall from the Richmond side as they take down St Kilda and have St Kilda guessing. I don't know whether St Kilda are going to finish top 8. There definitely is a chance, but very strange to see exactly where they go from here. Then we've got Carlton versus Gold Coast. Gold Coast probably should have used this as the game to catapult them into serious finals contention, but the story ended up being Carlton is now looking like they're back on form. Obviously, it's tough to say that when it's just one game at the end of the day. 120-61 though, and that second quarter in particular shows that Carlton at their best can be absolutely world class. Really, really good team. They were just kicking goals all quarter, couldn't be stopped, and you could put a lot of that blame on Gold Coast, just letting Carlton run over the top of them for somewhat, but at the same time, you have to play at a certain level to be scoring at that pace, and yeah, Carlton easily handling Gold Coast there. And then, oh man, the amount of times that I have to hear North will get one soon, and then we lose a close, not really close. I think the Dogs definitely had the most control of this game. By the way, North Melbourne versus Western Bulldogs vlog should be coming out tomorrow, hopefully. I'm keen on that one. If I get this done and edited by tonight, then there's a chance that tomorrow you see that vlog, and I'm hopeful that that's the case. But North versus the Dogs ended up being a 21-point win to the Dogs. Expected win, however, again, a few kicks away from it being a potential North Melbourne victory. And although the Dogs really did squander their chances in the first quarter, they played their normal brand of footy for the rest of the game and ended up taking that win. So that is the tips for the week. Now, let's go to star powers. And you can see here, I was pretty prepared for a Western Bulldogs domination. Wasn't really a domination, however, some good picks. Jack Macrae wasn't the greatest pick out of all of them. Kelly ended up being the best with 120. Cripps finally finding some form, 110 there. Brayshaw continuing his fine form this season. And Lachie Neale also having 100 in there as well, just a cheeky 100. Macrae ended up only having the 83, and I guess that's expected when Bonts is getting 158. That is ridiculous. Marcus Bontempelli definitely making the most of his week. Yeah, there's a reason I picked so many Dogs players. And Tom Liberatore even picked up 106. Trent Cotchin had himself 119. And Sam Doherty with 124. So a lot of epic players having themselves some really good games. Toby Green, even pretty respectable. Same with Jared Wicks. But Libba, who was our pick, ended up being third out of all of them. Cochin showing out in his 300. Not many games this year where he has shown out, but it's nice that he did it in this one. And Doherty finally, along with Carlton, finding that form they needed. But of course, I didn't have Doherty in this week because that would make too much sense. And then the week that I decided to chuck in Zach Butters, 77 points. Apparently, he's just no longer going to be playing at Brownlow level now that I've chucked him into my team. So sorry, Zach. No, you are no longer winning the Brownlow because apparently you're just going to play at 77 points per game for me. Just really heartbreaking stuff. Tom Green actually managed to pick up his form and go back to 100 points. Just my luck, really. Cody Waitman even had a career high 6 goals. 6 goals against us. There's the Dogs player we needed to pick up out of all of them. We could have gotten away with 4 Dogs players and maybe have gotten a better result. Great. Awesome. Then we go here, though. Charlie Curnow didn't actually play too poorly. Again, Carlton had themselves a good game. Todd Marshall, who I was thinking about, of course, ended up having the game of the players here. Having the best game out of the players there. Charlie Curnow, though, I can't be too disappointed with his performance, but we checked the ladder. 122. We had 503 points. We broke 500, which is positive, but at the same time, you have to get basically 550 to make it. Caveman being the only one who didn't get 550, but got a prize card. 500's impressive, especially considering only 100 points. There's no double points, sorry. So 500 means doing pretty well, but still not enough to even get top 100 for the game mode. Frustrating stuff for sure, but we go over to Ultra. This one really annoyed me. So a few interesting ones here. I'm going to go through the good ones. Mighty Mids. No Anderson had 100 points. Great stuff. But you can see here, Luke Parker decided to grab himself 126. So the better choice there. Really annoying in that sense. But we're okay. At least we got 100, 200 in total. Go to Jaden Short. 95. Not bad at all. Yeah, just pretty good result from him. 95 points, not quite 100, but basically that, as he gets himself 190, so 390 between the two. Tom Liberatore had himself 106. This was the one we should have had Trent Cotchin, though, as our double points player. Realistically, I would have never picked Trent Cotchin as a double points player. With the way he's been playing this season, I shouldn't have really expected myself to pick him. It shouldn't have been the case, but nonetheless, we had the opportunity to pick him. Didn't, and so we are paying the price. Although Tom Liberatore, 106 is solid. We will take that. Then we go to the disappointing ones. Zach Butters, as I mentioned, 77 points. And we had Tom Green, as he got himself 104. Realistically, I don't know why I didn't. Should have picked Tom Green double points. Because Ben King. I chucked in Ben King, think I have no other options. 44. 44. His average is 54 for the season. How do you get lower? How do you go lower than that? Oh man, so frustrating, that one. I should have picked Tom Green. Tom Green should have been my pick this week because picking up Ben King, I knew was a risk. I was hoping maybe I'd get lucky, but nope, not the case. We checked the ladder. Rank 110. 110. We had 661 points for the week, and that is pretty poor considering that, yeah, 875 is the lowest here. Just, like, I can't find any luck sometimes. It is really frustrating, but nonetheless, not much you can do about it. You got to move on. We go to top team now. Now, top team actually wasn't too bad. Only the one pick I wasn't too happy with. So, we'll go through the good ones first. Luke Jackson ended up being 5th out of the forwards here. Not a bad pick at all. Errol Gordon may have been a pick I should have done. I've done it in previous games, but he's been a bit sketchy over the last couple games, so I wasn't too sure. But he picked himself back up and got 108 points. 108 for Cody Waitman as well. He was the Dogs forward that I should have chucked in, and I didn't. I really didn't think he'd go off the way he did. Nonetheless, he did. Luke Jackson was our pick with 94. Wasn't a bad pick. Like I mentioned, he's in the ruck by himself right now. So it's not actually too bad for him. He's getting the hit outs. You can see he's got himself some disposals in there as well. 5 marks, but no goals, I think, is what killed us. Just one would have put him over 100. So those maybe 1 or 2 goals he could have got. If Fremantle played well in general as a team, then that could have gone well for us. Zach Bailey, I haven't really picked too much this season, so I'm not too mad about missing him, but the people who did have him, definitely reaping the rewards for that one. Then we go to this one. Tim English, great pick. Tied first with Oscar McInerney. Nothing wrong with that one whatsoever. Big O having himself a game. Again, I'm thinking Tom Hickey is a mismatch. I really am, because this is another game where the opposing ruckman against Tom Hickey has had themselves the top performance of the week. I can't remember who it was previously, but I just know that Tom Hickey seems to be one that people are going after now, which is very interesting. You can see 46 hitouts is ridiculous for Oscar McInerney, and you can see here the only reason that Tim English tied him was because he had 10 marks and 24 disposals and kicked himself a goal as well. A ridiculous game from Tim English, and Big O tied him. So really impressive stuff from him, which means I'm assuming Big O kicked a goal or two as well. Good pick there in the ruck. Then we go to our midfields. Taranto again, another amazing week, 147. Wasn't the best because Bontempelli actually topped him with 158, but you can't be mad at 147. I think a lot of people may have picked up Bont, and so that could actually be a bad pick. But again, he's just averaging a ridiculous stat line every single game, it seems. 10 tackles in there, 38 disposals, chucking a mark, maybe a goal or two, and you get 147 from Taranto. Very respectable. The one spot that let us down, Tom Stewart. I thought he would have been a lot better with the fact that he was playing against Port Adelaide and would definitely be needed in order to see Geelong take home a win. But nonetheless, they weren't really competitive in the end. Tom Stewart really wasn't that involved. Only the 4 marks, had himself 1%er, less than his average disposals. And that's pretty much what ruined us for this week. You can see here, we go to the ladder. 95, we had 441 for the week, which isn't too bad. But at the same time, there's plenty, like Doherty. I picked Doherty plenty of times. I've mentioned Vlosten's name. I've picked Sinclair previously. Caleb Daniel even though he wasn't the best this week by any means. Could have picked him up. It's really annoying that this was the one that let us down. It was a big risk play. If it paid off, I'd be sitting here very happy, but obviously it didn't, so we're gonna have to just move on. We go to top 18 now though, and obviously there's a lot more room to move with in terms of top 18. I want to check a few players. Yeah, so we check our midfield. We had the top 2 players in Bonts and Taranto. Had ourselves Josh Dunkley with 113, and then we go down, and this is where we start to see the ones that really let us down. McRae and Butters. Those were the ones that let us down. A really surprising letdown from Butters, considering they won the game. And yeah, Butters is usually one of their high possession getters, high scorers, all that stuff, but no, just wasn't necessary this game. And then McRae, he probably had to share the ball around a lot with all the other Dogs players, and you can see in the lineup here as well, I've got myself 5 Dogs players. This one really let me down. I didn't even realize Aaron Hall did not play, so there's just a wasted pick. I don't know why I didn't notice that, but I guess it makes sense. But you can see, other than that pick, so many good picks in the backline this week. Doherty, Vlosten, Sinclair, Daniel, Whitfield, great picks. And then I'm looking through here, I don't know who else I would have picked. I really don't. Maybe like, oh man, it's actually really, I probably would have picked Stewart. The fact that Stewart isn't in my top 18, yet he was my top 4 pick, don't know why in hindsight, but that's the case there. And then we go to our forward line. Again, not a bad forward week, considering that there's a lot of low scorers. Golden, 108. Jackson, 94. Waitman, we should have picked Waitman if we're being completely honest. Instead I went with Jamara, and although he had a lot of marks, no goals again lets me down. Lets me down big time. So yeah, Jamara swapped with Cody, could have seen us get a bit more. Kerno had an okay game. Shea had a very below average game for what we used to. And Zeeble just continues to let me down in-game and in-team coach. I just can't stand Jack Zeeble sometimes. We checked the ladder, 41st, and we had ourselves a player who did not score, and we had players that we really shouldn't have picked. A few swaps here and there, like if we had swapped out Jamara for Cody, Aaron Hall for anyone, we could have seen something so much better, but instead, 41st, only 21 spots out, and realistically, not even 30 points away. If we had picked any backman instead of Aaron Hall, we would be sitting here with a prize card. That is heartbreaking. That is really heartbreaking for sure. Oh, what can you do though? What can you do? You just got to live and learn again. It's tough, but it's the way the game goes, unfortunately. But nonetheless, that is it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Click on the video on the screen right now if you want to see more Team Coach content. Let's hope that next week's a little bit better. Best of luck to all you guys for next week as well. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.